back. Your boy's back, the one and only, the nonprofit sector connector. I used to say to you, yeah, I got to go up 2 flights of stairs from the kitchen where I get my coffee to the attic. And if you were with me a couple weeks ago, I had a panic in the attic because I was having Wi-Fi issues with my friend Steve McDermott from Smile Farms. So I start the show in the attic. I end the show on the porch in front of my house, and the Wi-Fi was not working well with me. So you know what? I was like, until I can sort this thing out and feel 100% comfortable, I'm coming to the office a lot now anyway. So instead of 2 flights up from the kitchen just below the roof, I had to drive about 19 miles to the office. Your boy Tommy D, Philanthropy in Focus, sometimes out of focus, but that's up to you. You figure it out after you listen to the show today. Every single week on the show, I bring a leader of a nonprofit organization to help them tell their story and amplify their message. And today is no different. I get to have special people who do important work on the show who either are my friends or whether they like it or not, are probably going to become my friends. So today we have somebody who is a friend of mine, Joy DiDonato from Blood Cancer United. Joy, before I get into all my shenanigans, I want to say hello, good morning. How are you? What's going on?
Hi, Tommy. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really excited to be here and looking forward to the chat.
We're gonna have a fun chat. It'll be fun, gang. I gotta drop a couple of knowledge pieces on you really, really quick. Long Island Imagine Awards, the applications are out right now. Long Island Imagine Awards, the applications are out right now. We're in like the final countdown. There's like 2.5 weeks. I saw an email this morning about how many applications are in. I'm on the committee, but the website is imagineawardsli.org. Imagineawardsli.org. If you are on the board of a nonprofit organization that does work in Nassau or Suffolk County, supports people in Nassau or Suffolk County. If you run an organization, if you pass by a nonprofit and you think it would look cool, tell them about the application phase right now. Very important. The new sustainability category in the Long Island Imagine Awards, something we're pretty excited about. We're not going to go into all that now, but go to the website, imagineawardsli.com. We just finished the New York City Imagine Awards event 2 weeks ago, and that was one heck of an event. Really, really, like, just it's such a special night when you're at the Imagine Awards because you get to see these videos of the incredible work that's being done by nonprofit organizations. And selfishly, as the nonprofit sector connector, I get to spend a lot of time. So last week I had a rerun. I had a team from GACEO. It looked like if you thought you were like seeing double, you were, because there was two guests on the show. But also, if you thought it was a rerun, it was, because I was at AFPLI Philanthropy Day last Friday with my friend Joy. And that was important, man. So being me, hanging out in nonprofits, I think I made a really good decision a long time ago to spend my time, invest my time, better said, into this sector. And that's who I get to hang out with. All right, so let's get into this. So what we do every week on the show is I put my guest on the hot seat and I ask them questions they would never know the answers to. No, I don't do anything like that. I bring my guests on and I have them tell me their story. I have them talk to me about their journey, what they've done, and how they got to where they are now. So at this point, Dr. DiDonato, because I did my homework, I was telling you that this morning. I want to hear about you. There was a show I used to watch on A&E, and my regular listeners like, yeah, Tommy, we know biography. We know, Tommy, you like the story about Milton Hershey. When you go to Hershey, you watch that story again and again on a loop. Yes, because I like stories. I like to be told things. I love Audible. Um, I like to read, but I'm not a very fast reader because I get distracted pretty easily. Shout out to all my neurodivergent folks out there. Hashtag ADHD. So I love to be told stories and I love to hear people's stories. And the journey of my guest is informative to people who might want to work in the nonprofit sector, who want to learn more about different opportunities and how they could come to a place where they can really be of service and be servant leaders. So, Joy, I want to hear where this all starts for you. Like, how do you end up working in nonprofit? We'll get to Blood Cancer United, recently rebranded and renamed, which was the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. But we're going to get into all that. But who are you, my dear? I want to find out about you. I want to know your story.
Okay, well, um, my story starts out that my connection to the nonprofit sector is probably similar to yours, that it started as a feeling, the feeling of really trying to help people. I've been active and within the nonprofit sector in many different facets, probably for nearly 22, 23 years, probably close now to 25, actually. But anyway, over
Mhm.
22, 22 years within the nonprofit sector. Um, Things and people and experiences that have been important to me in my life that have really shaped my journey are things related to helping people who are going through their own health or cancer journey. It's been a common theme throughout the over 20 years. Education is a huge factor for me. And having the access and the equitable process of having access for people to get into college wherever they may start and continue. Uh, Women's issues and having their platform so that they can really be seen is something that's important to me. And when I say women, I mean girls and women.
Yeah.
And then also providing a voice for people that may or may not have the ability to utilize their voice or just haven't been seen. So these are things that have been real common threads throughout nearly 25 years.
Why
And
does that even happen? Why does that even happen? Like
sure,
I'm writing notes,
yeah,
education, women's issues, providing a voice for people who need a voice
sure.
provided for them. Growing up, what was it for you? Is it your family, your parents? Who was that person advocating for other people? Or, or was it you? Did you have your own battles and challenges? I mean, I live by this credo. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always. And I think we must live by those types of ideas. So, we talk a lot about AI, we talk a lot about social media these days. We talk a lot about bullying, and tragically, the kids can't get away from the bullying. Adults can't get away from the bullying, and um, was there some catalyst in your youth that you saw your parents doing certain thing, your family doing certain? Was there stuff like that because I don't I think like my opinion on a lot of things about life is I think left to think about humans and compassion and love and not think about Madison Avenue, I think we were that way already, right? But like we get drawn by things. Here he goes, soapbox time. We get drawn by things like that. We're told we're not enough, so we need to buy this new pair of kicks, this new pair of sneakers, this new jacket. We got to go, right? You know, However, I think at the beginning of it all, we were just people looking out for each other, right? In this society, though, I think we get caught up on a lot of different things and focus on things, the shiny car, the brand new this, the that, right? Especially in a generation with Instagram and influencers and all this type of stuff. We get very dizzied by it. Was there something that you like remember growing up or some point in your life where it became important to you to speak for the people who didn't have a voice or couldn't get a voice and make education accessible and putting those platforms out there? What was that for you, Joy?
Sure. First and foremost, I have the most incredible parents that I could have ever asked for. I mean, they have sacrificed so much for my entire life and continue to lead by that example of service first, helping people first. They have been the most instrumental influence in my entire life. And what's unique about them that may not be unique to other people talking about their parents, I'm sure, because we all have different feelings, is that they were giving in service and sacrificing before we put titles on it, before it had cool names. It
Yeah.
wasn't called nonprofit. It wasn't called service. It wasn't called philanthropy. It was doing the right thing. And that's how I was raised. It was a house full of love in which my parents just really instilled you work hard, there's grit involved. If you want something, you go for it. There's no crying in baseball, meaning you're tough, you got to get through it. People are going to be throwing stuff at you all day long. You can't
Yeah.
complain about it. You just keep going because you never know, to your point, what somebody else is going through. You don't know who's getting a diagnosis. You don't know who didn't, have that same upbringing. You don't know who needs help. So you give what you can, you do what you can, you don't complain about it. You you be there for people. You be the best friend you could be, the best daughter you could be, wife you could be, mother you could be, whatever it is that is your path. Give it your all, and just try to be as good of a person as you could possibly be, because again, you just don't know what somebody else is going through. And
Yeah.
so be open to that and help where you can.
I love that. Thank you for that. And that's why I push a little bit on those questions because I think it's important for people to know that. And I think it's important when your parents do listen to this and hear about this, they're going to cry because they realize how impactful. And like, it's interesting because I'm raising four children right now. They happen to be mine. I don't know why I say I'm raising four children. I do, and don't just say that my wife and I have four kids. But I'll tell you, I mean, it's interesting. Like I try to think in terms of what it is like growing up. I know what it's like being an adult in this time in history, and it's a bit challenging, right? So growing up at this time in history with so much coming at people, and yet social media being what it is, I we have no idea how bad it will be until down the road, right? um, and it's not even just like your old, like your parents' Facebook or whatever. It's much more intense than that with all the stuff coming at these kids right now. But I bring it up just to say, like, I'm in the game. I'm trying to figure it out each and every day. And I think that's what most people are doing. And one of my kids says to me, he goes, Tommy D, he calls me Tommy D. Tommy D, you're a pretty chill guy. And I thought that was kind of a funny thing because, like, they're watching, man, they're watching everything we do. And there's sometimes your boy is not exactly a chill guy. So it's nice that one of my sons thinks I am a chill guy. Because a lot of times I am, but then there's sometimes when life is a little challenging and we're not. So my point, I guess, is they're always watching, right? They're always watching. And, you know, what we do, they pick up on. And I will tell you a quick story, Joy, and then we'll take a quick break, come back, talk more about you and the organization. But quick story, I did a thing called 60 Days of Service. I think it was before you and I knew each other, and I was running around Long Island volunteering, and it wasn't like 60 days in a row, although that would be a cool feat to do. But it was like 60 days during mid-COVID type stuff. So outside wearing a mask, doing things. Remember masks, everybody? So like and both my sons were with me this particular day, and we were up at the waterfront center in Oyster Bay, and they had asked me, could you come up and help us paint the basement? So I got a picture of my kid, the littlest guy, and he's behind, there's like a fish tank, everybody. So picture this, close your eyes, picture this. Oyster Bay, 2022. That's like a throwback to Golden Girls. Picture this, Sicily, 1923. Picture
My favorite show, by the
You
way.
love it?
Favorite
No,
show.
I love Golden Girls. I,
Oh,
I'm not embarrassed to tell you. It's not even a guilty pleasure. It's just a pleasure. I love those four. They would make me
favorite.
from Rose to Blanche, like Dorothy, Sophia, the whole thing. Big Golden Girls fan.
Me too.
So picture this: Oyster Bay, 2022, gigantic fish tank, like probably 500-gallon fish tank. It wasn't moving. The only person that could fit behind there was my little guy, who at the time was like 7 or 8 years old. So I got a picture of him behind the fish tank with the roller painting the wall. And that is the coolest thing because he knows, hey, Dad, when are we going to do another day of service? Last year, I'm out there with the Rotary Club, and we're filling these bags of food where they got like the assembly line, and you put in the rice and you put in the beans and you do the like air closer thing at the end. I don't think that's what you call it. The like sealer, the heat sealer. Those are the things they remember, gang. So get your kids out there. I saw my friend Christine Deska take her girls up to the Bronx recently and do something at um at a pantry. Gang, get them out there because that's the stuff that sets them on this path for life. So, they're going to remember these things. Your kids are going to remember, the young people you impact are going to remember. So, Joy, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go back into your story, talk more about your path. Where did you start? Where did you go? Where are you now? That's where we're going to talk about. The organization is Blood Cancer United. The show is Philanthropy and Focus. Your boy is the nonprofit sector connector. We'll be right back. Bye.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Broncu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
All right. Being a guy who listens to a lot of music that somehow has foul language in it, I don't know what we have to do. Do we have to or like when you watch a movie that has a lot of cursing and then they just put in like maybe watching like Goodfellas and you watch it on like a network or something and they have to like bleep out the words like they take, that F word and they say fudge or something like that. We might have to like take out the word attic and put in the word office somewhere. So I might have talked to Fee Pham, who was on the show a couple months ago, from Building Beats in New York City, one of the winners of the New York City Imagine Awards, by the way, and I got to do their interview and have them on the show. We might need to do a little like scratch the record. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But it seems like we're going to be in the office more often. Anyway, that's a whole rant about nothingness right there. But you know what? Jerry Seinfeld made a whole show and made a whole bunch of money about nothingness. So I guess it's all good. Joy, Dr. DiDonato, welcome back to the show. All right. We now know that we set the stage, how important service is for you and was for you, how important education is. So what did you do after you came? Did you grow up on Long Island, by the way?
I did. I grew up in Plainview, Long Island, and
So I knew a guy who used to go right there in Plainview.
yes, exactly. So
You grew up in Plainview.
I grew up in Plainview. And yeah, so from Long Island, and I went to Nassau Community College. So
So
SUNY
did
Nassau
I.
Community.
So
Yep.
did I. Shout
SUNY.
out.
Shout
I love
out.
Nassau. Shout
Uh,
out to Nassau. Now, I'm not going to age you, but I'll age me. So I
okay.
graduated high school in 96, and then I went to Nassau. And the thing about Nassau back then was the parking lot was not big enough, and it was like a
Right.
big dirt
Yes.
mound. Also, you do or same era. So, okay.
Same exact time. Yep.
All right, good. So there was like not enough parking spaces and you had to like park up sometimes on this dirt. But as long as you waited till the second week, it was cool because so many people just dropped classes so you could get parking. That was my experience at Nassau. Look, shout out to the whole SUNY system. They're like, Tommy
Yes.
D, thank you. But like the jewels of New
Without a
York,
doubt.
SUNY and CUNY
Yep.
and just such an opportunity to get an incredible education. And that's such a shout out to Suffolk too, Suffolk community.
Yes.
Just a great place to start and get you grab that 2 year. You can make,
Yep.
inexpensive, great education. Tell me about Nassau for you.
I have to tell you, there, SUNY Nassau Community College will always have an enormous piece of my heart forever and ever. I was fortunate to be part of their leadership program there, going right into college, because frankly, for our family, it was the choice of where I was going. I mean, cost effectiveness was number one. It was paramount. And so I went to SUNY Nassau, and I was part of their orientation program. I ended up I adored it, made friends for a lifetime. But more than that, I also got my first job there. And so that takes us a little bit on
Let's
our
do it. So
journey.
were you working at the college?
I went to Nassau for 2 years. I then went on to LIU for my bachelor's and my master's degree. But while I was going, I worked at Nassau in admissions and was part of a team in the admissions crew to help recruit people to go there. And I loved it. It was amazing. And I will forever be grateful. And it's interesting because the things and the places and the people that have your heart, you never know when you return back. So part of that story I'll get to a little bit later, but
Yeah.
spent some time there in admissions, loved it, went on and then moved towards the American Cancer Society. And spent 10 years at the American Cancer Society. And in that role, there were multiple roles throughout multiple years during that decade. And just really, the mission of cancer really kind of came full force. We had people in our family who had passed from cancer while I was there. And, it was just incredible to be part of that mission. And it was something that just really, really was a part of my soul, honestly. And so raising money to help people go through their cancer journey and be there for them was something that I will forever be grateful for. And the people that I knew there still talk to this very day.
Yeah,
Um,
I just want to stay there 1 second, just
yeah,
to go through like what you just said, so you started that back in 2010, something like that. It shows on LinkedIn, right? So, my question there is like, how much of, you know, our network gang is so critically important to us, and these relationships don't go away,
yes,
Like, I mean, I spoke at a professional lunch last week, and it was a CPA colleague of mine who I know going on uh 21 years, maybe
right,
something like that. Like literally like when I was a kid selling payroll in Queens when I was
right,
like 24, 25 years old. I met this man and we reconnected, and long story short, he asked me to speak in front of a room full of CPAs and attorneys a couple weeks ago. And it's like that's just and he met me, I was a kid, literally
right.
24 years old, no children, right?
Yep,
Like, and then now years later, four children, like,
yep,
and I'm not a kid exactly anymore, and those relationships can last forever. So like
forever.
you talk about, when you started at there, were you in development? Because you talk about
Sure,
fundraising, you doing a lot of
sure.
development work. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was at Nassau, I started there. I was 20 years, I was 18 when I went, but then when I worked there, I was 20 years old. And then when
Mhm.
I moved on, when I finally moved on and at the American Cancer Study, I was finishing, I finished up my degrees at that time, and I was 24 years old. I mean, so 24 years old, and the people, I just want to make it a really clear point that I am grateful to the fact that I never lost touch with the people I was close with at Nassau, and I
Yeah.
never lost touch with the people that I made connections with at the American Cancer Society. And it's
Why
really
is that so
important.
important? Why is that important? Because I think you and I know, and I think a lot
Yeah,
of
I'm
people
I'm gonna
know.
yeah, I'm gonna share. The reality is that if you look through my LinkedIn or if you look through just my timeline of career, I know a lot of people, they spend a few months here or a few months there. Mine's pretty packed with 10 years at the American Cancer Study, 10 years at Nassau Community College. And now I'm where I am, but at Blood Cancer United, but the tying piece of that is I cannot tell you how many people who were at either the American Cancer Society or at Nassau Community College have been through me being at Stony Brook, me being at Blood Cancer United, me
Right.
being a commissioner for Suffolk County. I mean, my roles have gone on this journey, but the people, even though their titles and roles have changed, they have been a constant. I have had connections with the same people for 25 years.
Mhm.
Whether I was a student, their
Yep.
student, they were a mentor, I was a mentor, we
Right.
were on a journey together. We were getting married at the same time, having kids at the
Yeah.
same time, buying houses at the same time, looking at the lens of transformation of organizations at the same time, being Girl Scout leaders at the same time. So whatever that was, you stay on that journey with people
100%.
and they remain. And
Yeah.
those people become your leads, they become your connections, they become your mentors, your friends. They're
No
there
doubt.
with you for every piece of your life. And if you're lucky, they stay a part of your life. And I'm very fortunate to have people who have stayed a
Yeah.
part of my life.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I mean, I see. So I was misreading something on LinkedIn, but I mean, so you were from 2004 to 2013. I was looking. That's how
Yeah.
when you were at American Cancer, but there was a
Yep.
role where you were senior director of youth initiatives. That's
Yep.
what I was saying. 2010,
Yeah.
2011. So, you know, I want to get to when you get to Nassau, and then we're going to
Yeah.
get to Blood Cancer United. But it's so interesting because I really don't love the fact how there's a negative connotation to community college or junior
Oh,
college and things like
it,
that. it sucks, man, that they talk, that people talk about it. Remember again, so let me tell you my story. So I was a public school kid, right? So what I'm about to say is going to be really relevant to Long Island people. If you're not on Long Island, think of that all boys Catholic school in your
Sure.
neighborhood, somewhere wherever that is. So I was a public school kid, and then I went to Chaminade, right? And then
Mhm.
from Chaminade, that was quote unquote. I remember the messaging in my mind. This is so I get into a good college. This is so I get
Yep.
into a good college. All that kind of stuff, right? So when I decided to go to Nassau for a variety of reasons, not that we have time for now, but it was not exactly what maybe the expectation would have been, right?
Okay.
So people don't say the nicest things, but it was a wonderful experience, and it is a great
Yes.
school. And you want to talk about value? Value is right on. I think I was paying like $1,300 a semester, something
You were
like.
paying $33 a credit at that time.
Okay, $33
Right.
a credit, man.
Yes, you were
So
at that time.
all
Yep, that sounds
right.
about right.
And this is a time period where, remember, so like again, you remember when your mom or dad told you need to know your social security number? My kids don't even have a clue what their social security
Right.
numbers are, right? Because we don't use it like that way anymore. But that was the thing. When you go to college, you're going to need to know your social security. Everything was driven by your social. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, remember,
Yep.
like you go to Bursar, you go to this one, you go to that one. But I think it was a great experience. Tell me what happened, leaving American Red Cross um, to be the executive director over there at the foundation for the
Yes.
college, right? Talk to me about that.
So that was again serendipitous. I was at the American Cancer Society at the time, and we were working with Nassau County to put on a large county-wide event. And I reconnected with many of the people that I had worked with and went with, 10 years prior. So again, important to keep those connections. And at that point, they had an opening. They had said, "Would you be interested in coming back to your alma mater? We have an opening for the executive director of the foundation." And I said there was nothing that would make me happier. It was an opportunity for me to raise funds for students who were needing scholarships. Guess who needed a scholarship to go to
Is that right?
college?
Is
I
that
did.
right? Yeah.
So, you've got at that point when I came back, I think we were probably hovering, uh, recruitment there was you're talking over, and it shifts, and you can ask them what their enrollment is now, but probably at the time anywhere between like 18,000. They had students at the time. Just the number one community college. It was the number one in the SUNY system. It gave me an opportunity as a student. It gave me an opportunity as an employee. It gave me an opportunity as an alum. It's given me every opportunity moving forward with the people. I couldn't
Mhm.
be any more thankful or have gratitude for SUNY Nassau Community College. But what it does for their students is it provides scholarships if need, the ability to transfer anywhere a student wants, anywhere. You can go anywhere. I had friends who left Nassau, transferred to Columbia, transferred to Cornell, transferred to NYU, Villanova.
What a great opportunity. You grab
They
those credits at an
absolutely.
inexpensive price and you come
Absolutely.
out with a degree from NYU or Columbia, right?
Absolutely.
Win.
And our friends over at Suffolk Community College, same situation. They do a phenomenal job, and I think that what we need to be doing, what's imperative is that we really need to be sharing with students. And I'm on the college journey now with my senior. I don't know if students really have a clue how much all of this costs and how much you could be saving. And
Yeah.
so, I just want to, again, just highlight the fact that just the people, the professionalism, the incredible background of so many of the people there, the heart.
Yeah.
Go there first, do what you got to do, and then do your next step. But I will be
Yeah.
forever grateful. And so, in that role, we made sure that students had an opportunity to have scholarships. We raised money for their foundation, provided opportunity that may or may not have been available, and it was a real huge pride point that I will forever be grateful and grateful
I
to.
love that. I love it. So, I had a couple friends from the Nest. I'm sure you're familiar with the Nest.
Oh, Sharon, yes.
Sharon and Helen. I had them on the
Yep.
show a couple months ago.
Wonderful.
They were semifinalists in the Long Island Imagine Award
Yep.
last year, so I got to be friendly with them. Also, I've been to events. There was this one time I was at the Tower. The Tower
Yes,
Gang is a
that's where
big building on the
yes.
campus, and I was there because a friend of mine, Ray Schwetz, my buddy Ray Schwetz,
Of
of
course,
course,
he's
right?
on the board.
So
Yes.
Ray and God, Sharon. is involved. She's an
Yep.
insurance broker like me.
Yes.
And I was up there one time, and this is a long time ago, actually, and come to think of it. But for whatever reason, you were probably running the show if I look at the dates and things like that. And we were up in the tower, and it was like in the summertime, and the air conditioning wasn't working. And it was something they were doing, scholarships or something like that. But it was
Yep.
like 115 degrees on the top of that building where we
Right.
were in. It was like we were like smoking hot. But that's what I remember. But Ray does that show, Tower Talk.
Yes,
Ray
he
Schwetz,
does.
Joe Villa, the
Yep.
whole thing. He's been on Long Island Changemakers with me. So we got to take a quick break because it's part of the show is Tommy uses more time than he's given. Welcome to my life. And we're going to take a quick break. We come back. We're going to move into, these next steps in this journey and get to Blood Cancer United and talk about programs, talk about
Yes.
the impact the organization's making, talk about what's upcoming. And I've been doing a lot of thinking in the last 48 hours. And I know we have a meeting this afternoon. So we're going to talk about some different things that are coming up and some things that might be exciting for everybody involved. So we'll be right back. It's your boy Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector. Right back.
Misalignment within your sales team or with a client stalls deals and creates unnecessary friction for you and the client, resulting in up to 37% lower win rate. If you're in pre-sales, sales management, or sales enablement, and you'd like to increase revenues, win rate, margins, client satisfaction, and stay competitive, this show is for you. Hi, I'm Art Fromm, host of the Making Seamless Sales Show. Please join me live Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Have you ever wondered what truly lies beneath the calm? I'm Jacinta Yang. Join me every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Talk Radio NYC as we explore healing, self-discovery, and space where science meets spirits to help you find peace in a busy world. Take a deep breath and tune in to Beneath the Calm, where every conversations guide you back to the calm within.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
All right. That's my buddy, Uncle Brendan Levy from the Queen's Chamber of Commerce, who's the singer there. He's also the lead singer of Damaged Goods, which used to be called The Goods back in the day, but because they're old men now, they call themselves Damaged Goods. Damaged Goods plays like 4 or 5 times a year. I get to go see him. We go down to that place in the South Shore here on Long Island, which for some reason escapes me right now, but it's out in Atlantic Beach, right over the bridge there. It'll Docs, DOX, Docs. That's where we go see Brendan and the boys. And we wrote that song together. Brendan gets to sing it, but I'll sing it for you. Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. Pretend like Tommy's in the attic, even though he's not. All right, Joy, let's get into this. Let's keep going. Nassau Community College, we did
Yep.
that. That was great.
Yes.
What happens next, and how do we get to Blood Cancer United? What are the next
Sure.
steps in this journey?
So the next steps in this journey, we see that there is a need sticking in with our SUNY system, and SUNY Stony Brook had a position opened in regards to women's health and women's issues and sticking up for women. As somebody who is I'm the vice chair of the board of directors for Dress with Success on Long Island. And
Really?
yes, and so women, so women's health, women's priorities are something that is super important to me. And I have two girls, two daughters, and same thing with Suffolk County Girl Scouts. Just really implementing girls from young age all the way, to 105,
Yeah.
and beyond.
Yeah.
Just making sure we're there for them. So spend another 2 years over at the SUNY flagship, which I am grateful for. We're amazing. Some of the best fundraisers in the world are there, and some of the most technologically advanced pieces of research are getting done. And just I'm grateful for that time. But so it's 12 years within the SUNY system, and then the whispers of where I am at now really started becoming, I don't want to say, the whispers became louder. Let's just call it that. And then they became louder and louder. I want to say that within the last few years, I want to say, unfortunately, we had a few of our family members be touched by blood cancer, and they were pretty close family members. We had my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, and my nephew, all within a very short time frame. And I see that the opening over at Blood Cancer United, formerly known as Leukemia Lymphoma Society, um, has this opening for their executive director, and that would be managing their Metro New York and Long Island, the Metro New York region, which consists of Long Island and New York City. And what it did for me, why I kind of moved towards this realm was that when you look back 20 years ago, when I was 24 years, 20 plus years ago, when I was 24 years old, and I was working at the American Cancer Society, and I promise this story will make sense in about 1 minute. I had lost my aunt, my mother-in-law, my grandmother, all to cancer. And I was working there during those times. And I remember thinking to myself, I really have to work hard because we want to save the people we love. Like and they didn't, you know, sometimes you don't see progress in real time. You need the clock to show you the future. And so during that time, I lost family members. But now you fast forward, pretend like you're on a VCR, and you fast forward the timeline. And now I have three different family members who are going through their blood cancer journey. And yet their outcome is different. And I've now fast forward the VCR tape, and thankfully, we've got a father-in-law in remission, a brother-in-law in remission. I have a sister-in-law in remission. I have a nephew in remission. And you see what 20 something years of progress.
And 20 years is a blip. It's a blip
Sure feels
in
like it.
history, right?
And so,
It is. But it's such advancement in such a short amount of time, different outcomes.
without a doubt. And so for me, um, as much as I love the education piece and I love, being part of nonprofit in whatever realm there is, I saw in real time, fast forwarding that 20 something years, despair go to hope, go to strength. And for me, the whispers of how do we help those with cancer became so loud it was screams. And it was like, we got to keep getting in that fight. And it goes back to my father and my mother saying, you want something, you got to fight for something, you got to have grit, you have to get in there. And so this opening was like a Rocky moment for me of just getting in that ring and trying to do the best I possibly can with whatever I got to be part of this amazing team to help in this fight against blood cancer. And so that leads us here to today. That's where
I
we
love
are.
that. I love that. Gang, check this book out. Woman's name is Angela Duckworth. The book is called Grit. If you haven't read Grit, or if you haven't even just Googled it, or no, not to take away from Ms. Duckworth's book sales, but just put on YouTube and like learn about grit, man. Grinding things out, getting it done. Like so much. And she's got a TED talk and all this kind of stuff. But I love that word. And I try to tell my children that word because, it's like, I don't wanna. What, like a lot of us, I'm not saying my kids say
Yep.
that. I don't want to. There's a lot of things Tommy D doesn't even want to do, but like, like actually, I tell you all, now I'm going to really share. I tell you all, that hashtag ending the stigma together, all about ending the stigma around mental health. And we talk about that so much. It's critically important. I got a whole show about that. So I see my therapist twice a week, and he was telling me about this song by the Ben Folds Five with the Fraggles. If you know what the Fraggles, first of all, if you have any idea what my friend Joy was saying when she said VCR, then you would know Fraggles. So let me tell you this. Google VCR if you don't know what that is, because she's talking about fast forward, rewind. You probably all don't know what that is. Think about like streaming. Like if you fast forward the thing you're watching on Netflix, that's like kind of what we used to have to do. But Ben Folds Five, the song's called Do It Anyway, and the Fraggles are in this video. So I was talking to my guy, my therapist, talking about just like, sometimes we don't want to do things. Cool. You don't want to do it. Guess what? The people who are super successful, they probably didn't want to do it either, but they freaking, and I'd use a different word if this wasn't a family show, they freaking did it anyway. So that's the difference. And that's grit. Grind it out. Get it together. I don't want to get out of bed. It's chilly. Great. So do it anyway. Mel Robbins has that thing, that 5-second rule. When you got to get up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get the heck out of bed. Get your feet on the floor. I wake 4 children up every day to get them to school, and my wife does too, because some days it's difficult. It's more difficult, and it's a two-person job getting these kids. But the thing is, because it's really nice under the covers, it's warm and it's nice, and you'd like to stay there. But you're trying to make the world a better place, so you got to get up and do it. I'm trying to stop preaching, gang, but this is what I'm thinking about when I hear my friend talk about grit. All right, now I'm all over the map. Ben Folds 5. The song is called "Do It Anyway." Fraggle Rock. Joy, your face lit up when I said Fraggle Rock. Do you remember the Fraggles?
I mean, Gobo and Red. Let's go.
Yes, go.
Gobo and Red.
Dude, and you had the dozers, right? And then you had those big ogre people outside.
Dance your cares away.
I love it. Look at you.
Worries
Oh my God,
for
I gotta
another
go back.
day. That's it.
You're the best. Dude, you watched a lot of TV like I did, but that was like on like HBO.
Oh.
Like, oh my God, gang, if you don't know Fraggles, just Google Fraggles. I don't have time to teach you everything. I'm
That's
here to
it.
talk about this nonprofit organization. All right, I think we probably have to go to a break soon. In a few minutes. We'll go to a break in a minute. You told this arc of a story to us today, to your audience. I'm part of it, Joy. This arc of 20 years ago, we have these cancer diagnoses, and you're with a cancer organization.
Yep.
Now we have these cancer diagnoses, and you're back in this work. However, the sea change in outcomes is what is really blaring and, screaming. You said, I wrote it down, despair to hope to change, right? I'm one of these guys who says dumb things sometimes. And like, I think like in a lot of cases, the society, now I'm going to get in big trouble. Big pharma, I don't always think is looking to change the outcomes, but I'm realizing more and more that that's not necessarily true, because I convince myself sometimes, no, we don't want to get rid of cancer because companies make so much money. You don't have to comment on that. This is just Tommy D stuff, Joy. You don't have to buy in, say anything. It's all me just ranting right now. However, my point of bringing it up is there's so much more to this. There are advancements, there are better outcomes. People are living longer, and people are beating this terrible disease. So everyone's family is touched by this. Everyone's family is touched by this. Everyone on this conversation's family is touched by this. So I just said a lot of things.
Yeah.
We talked Fraggle Rock. We're going to get into that another time. We'll talk offline about the Fraggles. So you're in this incredible opportunity. You're in this incredible space. We're going to take an early break because we're going to give us extra time for that final segment when we come back. So we'll take a break now. I want to talk programs. I want to talk initiatives. I want to talk what's upcoming. I want to talk about visionaries. I want to talk about all that sort of stuff. We're taking an early break, which is like unheard of on this show. We'll be right back.
On Frank About Health, we're not just talking healthcare. We're managing disruption and innovation. Over the last 4 years, I've taken you from epilepsy and COVID to mental health, caregiving, and now the front lines of healthcare transformation. Stay tuned for a healthier future as we bring on the innovators, professionals, storytellers, and advocates who show you how to own your healthcare every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a purpose-driven individual looking for deeper healing, clarity, and growth? Welcome to the Expansion Room, a transformative space for purpose-driven individuals. I'm Siobhan Larice, host, licensed therapist, and coach. Join me every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Every single Friday morning, your boy brings you a leader of a nonprofit organization on a program called Philanthropy in Focus. And yes, I spell it with a PH because that's the correct way to spell it in my mind. PHOCUS. If you want to reach out to me, send me an email, TommyD@philanthropyandfocus.com. Hit me up on one of those social medias like Instagram, TommyD.NYC, the nonprofit sector connector, or Ending the Stigma Together. So picture this, Long Island, 2025. Blood Cancer United. I love doing that. Like, I actually looked for a t-shirt, and it's like a Sophia t-shirt.
Yeah.
If you don't know, you don't know, gang. Golden Girls. We're back to Golden Girls again. Like, picture this: Sicily, 1923,
I love
and
it.
then you got Rose with Saint Olaf. So this one day in Saint Olaf, and I got gang, just a classic show, and it's a weird show for like it was like on like TGIF on like Channel 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a weird show, I would think, for like a 12-year-old boy, like I was like watching that show. It's these four like apparently they were like middle-aged women, but looking at the show, they were old ladies. Like they weren't, but I think this is one of those things, Joy, we got to get back on track. But this is one of those things where like that is a show where you ever see these memes that come up and they go, oh, such and such was 41 years old in
Yeah.
that show. 41 years old. That's like 7 years ago for me, man.
Yeah,
Like
me
that
too,
was that
right?
age. I thought that was an old man. Like, what was Ben Matlock? Ben Matlock was like 39. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anyway, if you don't know Matlock, I can't help you all. All right. Let's talk about this organization. What's upcoming? What are the programs, the impact, how we can help, all of that, please.
All right. Well, as you are aware, Leukemia Lymphoma Society changed its name to Blood Cancer United on August 28th, 2025. This
Why?
is a big piece. Yes, I'm so glad you asked me why. This rebranding took place to be in advance of September's Blood Cancer Awareness Month, so it was on purpose for that timing. But the most important thing that we need to share is that this was intended to be more inclusive for the blood cancer community. Many people, and I'm going to just share, including like my father-in-law who has multiple myeloma, wouldn't have identified as somebody that
LS.
would be able to be helped by the Leukemia Lymphoma Society at that time, even though they were working with and covering all different types of blood cancer.
So
But
it kind of evolved, I guess. So maybe it
yes.
was LL only, and then it wasn't, but they never
Well,
got
they
around.
were they were covering all, but I think people may or may not have felt is inclusive. So this Blood Cancer United, this new rebranding,
Yeah.
really is a more inclusive brand and image and message for all of those going through blood cancer. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're here
Yeah.
for. That's what we're excited about. And there's so many different avenues for people to get involved and to be a part of this organization, whether it's through peer-to-peer fundraising, whether it's through our advancement efforts or legacy gifts. Again, there's so many through a corporate sponsorship or partnership. So I'd love to kind of share with you the different avenues and
Yes. Yeah.
arenas.
Before you talk to me about how to get involved, which we're gonna definitely talk
Yeah.
about, just want to know like, so when would somebody seek out Blood Cancer United? Someone gets this diagnosis where you hear that C word, which nobody wants to ever
Yep.
hear. Then you reach out to the organization and get different levels of support. Talk about that, please.
Sure. So there's different avenues. So I mean, here's the thing. You've got your research component, right? So obviously the raising of funds is helping us work with the most incredible researchers to help with cures and with navigating that process. So we have our researchers, we have those for our patients. So you have, if you wanted to, reach out to us directly, there's avenues so that if you needed resources, educational pieces, connections to different, say, hospitals or
Mhm.
different doctors. Also, obviously the research, they have trials that they're working on
Mhm.
as well. So,
Sure.
so really just trying to, as you're the nonprofit connector,
Yes.
really this would be for you to really connect with us if you were in need of help and talk with your doctor, et cetera. And we want to make sure that you'd get to the right place.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, listen, gang, it's a very difficult time when somebody gets that diagnosis, right? And I've heard, when you hear that, and it's almost like they can't even hear the words anymore when they're sitting in that doctor's office or they're on that telehealth call or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just a terrible situation, and you need, excuse me, individuals need support. They need people who are in the know that can help them navigate. So that's critically important. How do I get involved if I wanted to be involved with this organization, specifically the work that's going on here in the metro, as you say, New York City and the two boroughs or the two counties out here on, as I like to say, Strong Island.
That's it. So I'm going to go through a few different avenues and kind of connect you with the most amazing team and staff who's working on
Do
that.
it.
So
Fire away. Let's hear it.
thank you. All right. So just know Blood Cancer United's been leading the organization for everyone affected by blood cancer, and we've been doing so since 1949. We've been around a while and excited to be around and here for everybody. So we've got our advancement team, right? And that's led by Megan Doyle. She is phenomenal. And right now, her efforts for advancement, just to give you a background, we have our Dare to Dream project. Okay, so that's Kids Deserve Better, Safer Treatments. Blood Cancer United's Dare to Dream project is a bold effort to transform care for children with blood cancer because a one-size-fits-all approach simply just doesn't work for kids. Right now, they're in the process of trying to raise $175 million to fuel cutting-edge global research, including the first ever pediatric acute leukemia master clinical trial. It's called the LLS PEDAL. It's designed specifically, it's pedal, designed specifically for children. The mission goes beyond the research, but that project is amazing, and she's really doing such an incredible job in leading those efforts for our advancement. We've got our Student Visionaries of the Year. And now our Student Visionaries, they are phenomenal. They're the look to the future. I mean, who do you know that is in school right now that's really looking at seeing infinite possibilities? They challenge the status quo, they make the impossible possible. We're looking for student leaders that we can highlight. And these students are the best of the best. And the thing that ties them together is the mission for fighting blood cancer, but they get highlighted and they go on a 10-week journey of campaigning, and you're going to see their faces.
When is that happening?
Yeah.
When does that's coming up?
We're kicking off. I mean, their workshop is this weekend in New York City and then a week later for Long Island. That's the workshop, but the kickoff starts end of January-ish, and they kick off.
I got an idea that I'm just gonna throw this out to you.
Yeah.
I'd love to, maybe your comms team is already on this, but I'd love to maybe highlight these campaigns as they're happening, like little check-ins, like on a monthly basis or whatever, like a Tommy D extra project, because I don't have enough projects. But I got to shout out a couple people. Adam Wood came on Long Island Changemakers.
Amazing.
And you know who else came on the show? Actually, after him, and it was more exciting. Adam, I love you, but it was more exciting. Penny and Lucy came on my show on Long Island Changemakers in the studio. I'm getting emotional as I even talk about it.
Well,
I mean, they both gave me bracelets, not these bracelets, but they both gave me bracelets.
Yes.
One from Sunrise Day Camp, and I got a Penny Power bracelet. Shout out they're the sweetest. And
and he was our walk chair. He's amazing for Light the Night, which brings us to Light the Night, which is awesome.
See how I did that? I didn't even plan on that.
I love that.
That's the universe, man. It just happens, man. It's just how it goes. Tell me about Light the Night.
Light the Night. That's our annual. That's the evening walk hosted by Blood Cancer United to support people affected by blood cancers. Participants carry illuminated lanterns, white for survivor, red for supporter, gold in memory of loved ones, and that happens each fall. And Jacqueline Gilbride is our director on that. She's phenomenal, and she leads a team for Long Island and Manhattan. And Adam, as you are well aware, and his daughter, they were leading the efforts, and it was amazing. That was this fall. And just to give you a clue, I mean, really, the night events brought together more than 8,000 community members and will have had an impact of over $4 million. And so it's incredible.
Yeah, and shout out to my buddy Ray Schwetz, because Ray
Schwetz, he was there
for so many years. Ray, I love you. Also, a guy who's been on Long Island Changemakers, who is over at Jovia, and just such a good friend and so impactful in the nonprofit
supporter.
sector.
Jovia's a huge supporter of
I know
everything.
they are a great organization. Shout out to Jovia. I am a member. I in fact have a case of Joviaitis, which I don't know how it's cured, but I have it. So anyway, if you don't know, that's a local credit union, gang. So if you're in the other part of the world, just check it out. Philanthropy Focus. I'm just being silly. All right, take it away.
Take it away. Big Climb coming up. This is a huge event that's run by John Adams. Climb, it's basically Climb, Conquer, Cure. That's at Citi Field, June 7th. We take over Citi Field. It's amazing. But this is the important fact to understand. It's called the Big Climb. Yeah. And in the time someone can climb 5 flights of stairs, someone is diagnosed with blood cancer in the U.S. So come on out, Citi Field.
So
June
shout
7th.
out to, by the way, let's go Mets. So are the Metsies involved in any way? I mean,
we're going to be at Citi Field, so I think that there's a piece of them involved. But last but not least, Tommy.
Tell me about that. What's coming up? What else is there?
Visionary of the Year, Tommy. So Visionaries of the Year. It's a 10-week philanthropic competition where leaders across Metro New York rally friends, family, colleagues, and community members to raise critical funds for Blood Cancer United. What's really important, it's a 10-week. It's a 10-week situation here that concludes with our grand finale. It's an evening of mission moment celebration and community. And here's the interesting part about being a visionary. It's not that I select people or somebody on our staff selects people. What's really impactful about this is that leaders in the community have to nominate somebody to even be considered to be a visionary. And the real requirements is that that person can really be mindful of the mission, of course, but that they connect the mission to everybody, and they're spreading, awareness, of course. And that's our campaign. And that is New York City that goes February 26th to May 8th, and Long Island is March 24th to June 3rd. Who makes a visionary, Tommy? I'm just going to go through that with you.
Tell me what
Dynamic.
it looks like. Yeah, tell me about a visionary. What would that look like?
Dynamic, philanthropic, influential individual who's community focused, team oriented, highly motivated, and ready to rally all their networks to create in the change in the fight against blood cancer. So that is a piece of all that we do. And just
gang, if you ever saw a movie, if you ever saw a movie called Glengarry Glen Ross, there's a scene, always be closing. ABC. Always be closing. Always be closing. That's the Alec Baldwin character. I feel like I'm being closed. Gang, I will be meeting with the team at Blood Cancer United this afternoon to discuss with Joy and her colleagues, because I have been nominated, is the right word, right? And recommended.
Oh, it certainly is, Tommy. It certainly is.
To be a visionary. So, while that is an incredible honor, I have to just get the details and work with your team, because I am known to say yes to things before I get the information. But this time I'm getting better. In 2025, I try to just get all the information, but I'm sure we'll be announcing something pretty exciting soon. Joy, Dr. Joy DiDonato. I love that you're a doctor. My mother would be like, the woman is a doctor. Don't call her Joy. But we are totally out of time, but tell me about the commissioner thing really quick before we go, that what you do in Suffolk County.
Sure. So real quick, I had the opportunity to be brought forward to the county legislature and from the county executive. They have the commissioners for human rights, and that got voted in and was a unanimous vote. And I am a commissioner for human rights for Suffolk County, and I couldn't be more proud to be a part of that, lending a voice, being able to be a voice for those who need a voice. Very proud of that. And I'm also a commissioner for the Women's Leadership Commission for the county as well. And that's basically just trying to be a part of our community, along with the vice chair of Dress for Success.
We gotta leave it there. This was just because I ran out of time, so we gotta leave it there, because you're an incredible person. Long Island Change Makers. I'd like to have you on the show on December 5th. We'll talk about that offline. Gang, this show is Philanthropy in Focus, or out of focus. Up to you. You be the judge. I'm just the guy on the show. I wish you all a happy weekend. Joy, I'm so glad you're my friend. Make it a great day, everybody. See ya. Bye.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.